What's up, YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. My name's Dan, this is Neomustangs, and this is my Fox Body Mustang channel. Welcome to day 2. We had to actually pause yesterday because we had an issue. McLeod backing plate has very specific bolts. Like, you can't just stick a regular M8 125 in, because there's not enough room to get the socket around the head of the bolt to get it to tight. I mean, we could have used a wrench, but that's a no-go for me. So I went down to Ace Hardware and got the hex-headed black oxidized bolts, M8 125 pitch. That's kind of boring or whatever, but these are the little things that will be a showstopper for you because you just don't know about. Now remember, we stole a lot of these bolts and hardware for the white car when we were hooking up the T56 because it runs the same twin disc. Even though my white car is a T56, and it has, you know, it's a different trans and bell and all that stuff. This hardware for the flywheel and the clutch and everything is all the same. So, including the bolts to bolt it up, bell to block. Let's get started. Me and Cousin Paul are actually gonna get the TKO 600. We got it finally sealed up and shimmed. We're gonna get it up here on our trusty jack stand, lock it down. That way, when we're ready to put it in here in about 30 minutes, be easy peasy. I highly recommend getting a trans jack when you're doing stuff like this, but my particular one is too long, and this is where having the lift with the bottom plate sucks. But it is what it is. So like I was telling you, know, pretty easy peasy. You can see how much non-space is right here. You can see how much you can't really get a socket around it. We had this one up here just to keep it from falling down because we didn't feel like taking it down last night. We're not even gonna lie. That's the bottom disc is in. It's nice and lined up. We're gonna go ahead and tighten this down. And then we're gonna get the top disc on and get the pressure plate. All right, so next up, just like I said earlier, top disc, flywheel side. McLeod does a really good job identifying stuff like that. And we're gonna get this in, make sure that our paint marks are lined up. Right here's the blue mark, and then we'll be good to go. And of course, we've already got our paint marks lined up right here, so we're good to go on our sprung. They had these little spacers and lock washers on top, and then we had the little 7/16 12 points to get this in. And this is the HD, so this is gonna be one bad. Guys, always make sure when you're putting a new clutch in that you wipe everything down with like brake cleaner. Look how much crap came off this, just the oils and the surfaces from making sure that this doesn't rust before it gets to you. Because I mean, obviously they build these and they store them. So I do the same thing both with the disc and the pressure plate and all of its components. Because if you don't get any of the oils off of the clutch, then it's not gonna properly seal right, if that makes any sense. So just a pro tip, when you're putting a new clutch in, this goes for all clutches, just take some brake cleaner, clean area, clean the flywheel, clean all that stuff because your fingers get all over everything. You want everything to be nice and clean so it doesn't create a burn mark. We're going to go around these nice and even with the gun, and then you'll see these splines actually start to collapse. And we may want to make sure that this is sitting in the exact spot it needs to be, nice and lined up. It makes it easy for the clutch to seat. Cousin Fred actually left one of these loose once. Pro tip. If your car feels like the whole motor's out of balance and it's gonna shake out of the hood of your car, and you just put a clutch in, good chance you have one of your bolts, one of these bolts you forgot to, or multiple bolts you forgot to tighten down. I think Fred left one of them loose and the other one like hand tight, and he only torqued 4 of them. It's none of his fault. It's human error. But that was one of 1,000 clutch installs that we've done, but it was funny. I could not understand why my car, I was taking my father-in-law for a ride at the time. And it was one of his first and only times he's ever got in my car, and I was embarrassed because he had That's why I don't play basketball. And it trips me out because it ran like shit. So I was like, man, what the hell's wrong? And the first thing I thought of was, man, my motor's about to blow up. Because it just shakes like that. Because everything's out of balance inside your car or inside your clutch. So we took it back apart and found out, right, Paul? Mm-hmm. That two of these bolts, this wasn't even sitting right. All right, so I know a lot of my videos going long and I'm doing a lot of editing and showing you a clutch install. This video isn't really about a clutch install, but I like to take you guys to show you, what's in the car when we actually do the builds. I'm not trying to teach you how to clutch install, but I'm giving you a little bit of pro tips while I'm along the way. You're probably wondering again, yesterday we had talked about why the hell am I sticking this back in there? Because we have back orders on bell housing for the T56. And I can't wait another month on a bell housing just so I can make sure that I put the T56 in. We're gonna get the 600 in that we just rebuilt. We just can't wait because we gotta get the car running, and at worst case scenario, we drop an H-pipe and we put another T56 back in once we get the other bell housing. We'll confirm it works. Cousin Paul brought up a really good point. I did mention when I put my gear oil in here, you guys are probably like, well, wait a minute, those use Dex 3, and you are correct. But you can use Dex 3 in a faceplate, not a big deal. We use shockproof lightweight gear oil. This stuff's like 20 bucks a quart, 18 bucks a quart from Redline. And we've been using that stuff in our faceplates for years. Yeah, I know I broke a couple of them a couple times, but we have hundreds of passes on our faceplates, so it's not the oil. But I wanted to say, hey, don't be putting gear oil in your TREMEC. It's supposed to go in it Dex 3 unless it's aftermarket, faceplated, shifted, of whatever. So at that point, you just go with the recommendations of what they tell you. I'm gonna put the fork on, we're gonna get the bell housing in, we're gonna get the throwout bearing in all at once. Obviously we had to order new bolts. Remember we stole these bolts for the T56 swap in the white Mustang. So we're gonna go ahead, I'm gonna put you back over here under the car. We're gonna get this stuff hooked up. And then we're gonna start getting ready to put the trans in, the cross member, and the drive shaft. Easy peasy. This thing weighs a ton. I cut this section out here so I could get some air. Plus it was in the way of my downpipe for the on-3 long time ago. All right, so what we're gonna do now, we got all the bell bolts in and they're tight. Those are always a PTA to get up on the top. But the way the oil pan works with us is some of these safety bolts I can't run because it goes right up against the back of the oil pan. So what me and Cousin Paul are gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and slam the starter in real quick and put the safety bolts in that we can, which is probably 5 or 6 or 8 of them. It keeps the bell housing and the block plate mated together. But this stuff should only take us a few minutes. I'm gonna put you on a time lapse so you're not bored. So pro tip, when you're getting the starter bolt, use multiple long extensions and come through the motor mount area. It makes it a lot easier. Obviously with tubular, I'm a little bit cheating here, but it works the same with the stock K-member. So we got all our safety stuff in. We got our starter in really quick. Didn't really need to do that right now, but these have the slotted stuff for the quick time for multiple different transmissions or whatever. We're at the point, we got our trusty crowbar over there for our little trick to get the trans to seat. We're about to get the trans underneath the car. And we got about 30 more minutes left in this and we should be done. And then we got the aluminum drive shaft, which we cleaned up, and I got the hardcore, the good yoke on it, the forged yoke. I put this in there years ago because I've been about 3 of these. Let's stop talking, get back on the time lapse and get rolling. Go get the ring. You good? Get the ring. Make sure you got the back. Don't point it.
You know how it is. Now we gotta line that thing back up. There we go. Oh, yeah.
So what we had a problem with is, well, first off, QuickTime's got these little adjustable bolt socket holes, but I had to put this thing on my shoulders because we forgot the ring. TREMEC has a very specific ring that goes on the front retainer, keeps it nice and tight in the bell housing. Because like I said, this is used for more than one trans, and we forgot it. So Cousin Paul, like a mean man he is, put it on my chest. All right, we're at the point that we're getting ready to put the drive shaft in, and now we're pretty much coming to the complete end of this. Anyways, all we got to do left is to get the drive shaft in, which we're gonna go ahead and slip on real quick. Cousin Paul's got the 12 mils ready, perfect fit. We usually like to put a little bit of Loctite on the 12 mils because those always come loose, like forever, all the time. So now that I'll have my driveline in place, I'll be able to actually build my exhaust. We'll have to use the jack to bring it up and put the weight off the axle, but you know, we can get a good idea where it's at. But this is pretty much it. Got the driveline in for the most part, got a couple bolts to do, and then I'll talk to you after. All right, folks, that's it for the video. I got a lot of editing to do because we did quite a few time lapses, and I apologize about the time lapses. I don't really do that, but so let me take you under here. Me and Cousin Paul came in on a Saturday, and we decided to go ahead and hammer this thing down. We got it all in. QuickTime bell, brand new RXT twin disc HD, and my freshly rebuilt TKL 600. Got everything in, cross members. I think we're ready to go. Got to hook up a cable, a starter, clutch cable, handful of VSS and reverse light, etc. And then we got to move the fuel system over because remember, the header is going to be coming down right through here. So I hope you enjoyed the video. I know it's not much, but at least it gets us rolling here on the black car. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe below. Comment below if you enjoy my content, my Fox Body channel. Go out there and support those younger channels. I'm going to shout out a couple of them. Gearhead 704. The Infamous Project, 417 Fox, the Blue Oval Media. Of course, you want to go check out Brutal over there and Foxcast Media. Stay up to date with the Ford Takeover. I look forward to seeing you guys there. I got a membership below if you're interested in supporting the channel. If you feel like I've done something for you and you want to support the channel, always appreciated. Got some merch below. Other than that, I just appreciate you watching, subbing if you have. Me and Cousin Paul, see you next week. Maybe we start working on Dad's cars, take it back to the dyno. See you soon.